yes, to your live slave, for death of freedom, a valid choice. Those of us don't know, don't like you cowards, you dare decorate. This world is wrong to be.
He has several #1 hits and albums to his name, and sold-out shows globally. Please welcome multi-platinum selling country rocker and Georgia native, Bradley Gilbert!
What's up, guys? Our wrestling podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious, along with Jess the Total Package, Craig the British Bulldog, Joe and Cuz are off this week, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Can someone feed me this awesome topic?
We're going
Dave,
to talk about
today we're talking. Jeez,
we're rusty.
we are rusty.
Weeks.
You know why? Because we're coming off the WrestleMania experience, WrestleMania 38 experience. You're talking to three guys that were there. We're going to talk about what it was like for the experience of being there in the Big D, there for both nights, experiencing it all from the access to night 1 to night 2, to the atmosphere, to the fans. How was it? You all want to know, while answering all the questions that you all want to know, that you all saw live on WWE Network, but we lived the dream, folks.
It's the cock. It's the cock, Craig.
On the cock.
Just saying.
That's what we're talking about today. Not necessarily review, just I think the WrestleMania experience, and we will share our best, worst, and moments and matches and that kind of thing. But overall, our little WrestleMania 38 hangover, our wrestling podcast style.
That's what it should be called, the WrestleMania 38 hangover. That should be the name of the episode. For audio fans,
tell me about it.
Give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you do us a solid and give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019, or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast. Jess, where would you like to start with this little gem that we're going to talk about?
The first WrestleMania was held at Madison Square Garden.
Oh,
no.
no.
A dream of,
I was born in 1970.
Vince McMahon mortgaged his house.
We didn't go to the Hall of Fame or anything. We just kind of watched it on Peacock that night on Friday. And then Saturday we hit the town, and then we went to the Access Superstore. So this year they had Access a little bit differently. It was the Superstore, and then inside the Superstore was fan access. They had time slots where some wrestlers would come in and sign autographs. We didn't, at the time that we went, though, we didn't see anybody there. No. But they had like the entrances set up where you could go and pay some money and go do an entrance or whatever, and then come out to the Titantron to your favorite superstars music, and that was fun. Joe did one that Cuz put on his video where he came down to Kurt Angle's music and got everybody to chant "You suck" at him, which was genius. And then you can commentate a match. They had that set up. You could take a picture on the set of the a couple things they had set up. They had the Undertaker's graveyard, which I did not go in. It was behind like a curtain. You got to walk in to it's almost like a haunted house kind of style. And you got to walk into it, and I'm sure it had, I don't know what was in there. I didn't care to go in there. Nothing against The Undertaker, but calm down. And then they had they had pieces of memorabilia set up from every WrestleMania.
That was the best part, in my opinion.
Yeah, from WrestleMania 1 all the way up to 37 last year. They had for WrestleMania 3, they had the back brace that Andre wore under his black singlet, which kind of cool to see. And then they had his black singlet right there. They had King Harley Race's cape and boots that he wore when he took on the Junkyard Dog, which was cool. And then they had Shawn Michaels.
Was it Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 12?
Yeah, 12,
when he
the outfit that he wore when he came down to the "What a Ride" when he came down the zip line, and then they had I think one of the outfits that Triple H wore. I don't remember what WrestleMania it was. It was one of the many that he main evented. It was Triple H's whole setup where he wore
Vader's mask was there.
Yeah.
And
it was basically Access in recent years. It was like a full probably $30 $30, $25 for $40 ticket, big convention, different booths, different kind of thing. I don't know if this started this year, last year, or whatever with the pandemic. Completely scaled back. It was more of just a superstore, fully just. In order to go in and buy merch, you had to pay a $10 cover to go inside and just buy merch. So, but as a gift of that, you had a little mini in like a kind of one big convention hall instead of one big convention center. You had kind of an exhibit of the A&E kind of WWE vault. You had the memories, you had the entrance. So it was all the little bells and whistles of a access, all scaled down, but the emphasis was absolutely selling merch in this access superstore. And they did have a ring in the middle of it to had podcasts, live podcasts. They had signings kind of where you could walk in. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels were going to sign on Sunday. Undertaker, by the way, Dave, quick question. Remember how much an autograph from Undertaker was and how much you wanted it to sign the belt?
Yes, so $200 for an autograph from Shawn or Taker. $250 if you wanted it on a belt.
We went 3-4 years ago in New Orleans, and if you haven't been, it's just like it's the place that you can walk off the plane in the city, and then if you anywhere around the stadium, you go like, okay, I'm home, and I feel like I'm around my people. And wherever you go, you're seeing people in shirts. You feel good. The presence of being around people you love and people that love the sport you love, like it really is. You can't describe it unless you've been there, but goddamn, it was a really, really fun weekend, and Dallas put on a great show.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the stadium before we talk about night one, or we want to ski a bit?
The stadium was fantastic. I'd never been to Dallas Stadium before, and if you haven't, and if you're not a Cowboy fan, you're missing out. It's huge, and it's probably one of the most nicest stadiums I've ever seen. Just the lobbies were spacious and we went to New Orleans a few years ago, like Craig said, and you couldn't, if you got up and went in the corridor, you were shoulder to shoulder and you were fucking getting pushed around. If you fell, you're dead. Here at Dallas, I could walk out from the seats and put my arms out and not hit anybody, and and the place was, there was a good, 70,000 people each night.
If you think about it too, there was food everywhere in our section. You can get 3 different types of food, barbecue or sushi or whatever. Yeah. And then if you wanted to get a drink, there was like 6 bars within I'd say like
we
50
never
yards.
Waited in line.
You never waited in line. Not for the bathroom, not for alcohol, not for food, or we didn't get food, but there was no line.
Podcast posse peed every 3 matches, upsetting people on the aisle.
I have a tiny bladder and I'm old.
But we never waited more than 3 minutes to pee either.
You didn't miss anything. Yeah.
It's not one of the newest stadiums in the world, and I've been to SoFi. But Jerry World is legit, and it's the greatest stadium I've ever been to. We didn't wait in line to get in. Never wait for the bathroom. Never wait for concessions. Super wide seats. You could get in and out access.
If you had to get away to take a phone call, they had a huge lobby area behind all the bars and totally separate from the seats, where you can make a quiet phone call or sit down and eat food at tables or couches. Yeah. It's crazy.
You're not yelled at like in other stadiums, like usually like what are you guys doing? Go back to your seats. Go back to your seats. Like you can't be up, standing, and doing anything. You could just get up out of your seats and leave the arena and go to any of those places and just fucking stand there and watch the event through the window. No one says shit to you.
So speaking of Jerry Jones, we have this. We have this total elaborate thing about the Dallas cheerleaders that came out at the beginning of night one, and I'm like, so Jerry, so I'm like turning to Craig, I'm like, Jerry, so I think Jerry said to Vince, I'd like to have my cheerleaders come out, and Vince is like, well, you're paying for the music. Can you read us the matches right quick, and then we'll talk about.
So night one, we had the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, defend their SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. They pinned Shinsuke. Only 6 minutes 55 seconds. We were there live, kicking off the event. Fucking Rick Boogs blows his fucking knee out. And at first we were like, is that part of the show? And then like we could tell when we saw trainers continue to run down Like while he was on the side, I was like, oh fuck, like
he's
we
done.
just witnessed a guy blow his knee out in the opening match of WrestleMania. Like totally sucks because I really like him and Shinsuke, but
he'll be back. He'll be back.
But the match was fun. It seemed like it was going to be a lot of fun. It just didn't get a chance to get.
It did. Yeah, it was still okay considering what happened too. But
Drew McIntyre defeated Happy Corbin 8 minutes 35 seconds with the Claymore kick. And Drew McIntyre was actually really over, like in the crowd, and I really hope that one day it's probably not in the immediate plans, but I hope that one day he gets another run with the championship because I like Drew a lot, and he checks all the boxes, as Conrad says, to like a star that Vince should be pushing. He's big, he's muscular. If you walk through an airport, you would turn your head and go, "Holy shit, who's that guy?"
That's a big dude.
He's a good-looking guy. He's a very good wrestler.
We saw him NXT with just 2 rows back in Riverside. I'm like, that dude's massive.
Yeah, he's a massive guy. He's a good wrestler as well, and so he checks all the boxes. So I really hope he gets another chance.
And don't forget that he cut 2 of the 3 ring, ropes
so
right over the sword.
From the live experience here, I will say I was obsessed with this because he cut the ropes legitly, and then
how did he rig that?
The ring crew had to then put 2 ropes all back together.
I forgot about that. You wouldn't stop.
I
like,
would.
They're not going to get it done in time.
I had binoculars. I was looking at the ring crew. They cut,
this isn't good,
and nobody else gave a shit, and I was just like, they're not done. And there was scrambling in the ring.
But the whole time, so after that happened, they turned the lights out to the ring. They turned the spotlight so you can't really see the ring. And then Rey Mysterio and Dominic are coming out. They play the video package.
15 ring crew guys in the ring still trying to put the ropes together.
They play the video package of the next thing. So I'm watching the video package. Meanwhile, I see Craig still with the binoculars in the dark going,
they're not going to get it done.
Both ropes are not even up yet. And then Rey Mysterio and Dominic's music hit. And as they're walking down, Craig's like, how are they going to walk down with no ropes? There's no ropes there. And it almost happened right as they were getting in. When I got home, I went and watched it. You couldn't even fucking tell.
No.
As Rey Mysterio and Dominic were in there, they were not up. The ropes were not up.
They were still working.
Cameras just followed them perfectly.
Rey steps through the ropes. A ring crew guy talks to Rey and says, "Don't fucking hit the ropes, Rey," or whatever he says. Don't and they did, and he never did go back and test the ropes. They were still working on. There was something with the screws and putting a stripped out something, but well,
they were still tightening them. You can see them spinning the.
But even when they were walking down, it wasn't even tightening. They weren't even in the big long bolts that go in the far right corner where we were sitting on the hard camera side, the far left corner. They weren't in, and I was just like, "There's WrestleMania stuff."
Even on top of that, Craig, when they were done, they weren't even straight. They didn't line up exactly. It was not good. They actually had to go back 2 or 3 matches later, and they had to adjust them again.
And by the time Logan and Miz came out, and they were ready, and I was just like, "No way!" And then I felt silly. I was like,
I don't think it was silly. It was legitimate. This is kind of a crazy time.
Call me Mark, because I just got suckered in.
The next match was one of the attractions for the weekend. Miz and Paul Logan, or Logan Paul, excuse me. Yep. Logan Paul defeated Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio by pinfall when the Miz pinned. Was it Rey? I think it was Rey pinned.
Yes. Yeah, I believe
it was either Rey or Dominic. I don't know. 11 minutes and 15 seconds. We'll get back to top moments and all that stuff, but it was a fantastic.
We're talking about this one for sure.
This place was fucking insane for this match. It was great.
Yeah.
The next match was for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Bianca Belair defeated Becky Lynch by pinfall, 19 minutes and 10 seconds. I got my opinions about this match as well. Then we go into Seth freaking Rollins has a surprise opponent, and just like a lot of the internet predicted, it was Cody Rhodes. This match was the second longest match of the entire weekend, 21 minutes, 40 seconds. Cody defeated him with the crossroads, 3 crossroads, and then pinned him.
Watching it live, as soon as the lights dipped, and they did, but you can tell Vince McMahon backstage really taking his time working the crowd. all I heard in my row was, "It's fucking Bray Wyatt! It's Bray Wyatt!"
That's what we kept hearing. And then I was like, I didn't know how Cody came in. I was like, you guys see that door? Do you guys see the door?
Worst kept secret, but still in the crowd.
Yeah.
People had no fucking clue.
I think we really did have the right angle to see
appropriately
the door that was open under the stage. I'm like, is that? And if I had known how Cody Rhodes comes in, I would have known. But I didn't watch Cody's entrances as the American Nightmare. I don't watch AEW. Not that it's a bad product. I just don't watch it. I didn't know that's how he came up into the arena. And I was like, so I think you guys knew when I said there's a trap door open down there. You're like, oh, it's fucking Cody. You guys knew right away. So, you know, it was just cool.
We knew. We were all 99%, but the way we were all kind of worked all week, we didn't quite know. But at the end of the day, we knew, but still pop like hell for it.
And it was a huge pop. In what we thought was the main event match for night one, which it did not turn out to be, Charlotte Flair defeated Ronda Rousey and retained her.
Thank God.
And retained her SmackDown Women's Championship in 18 minutes and 30 seconds. And then in this impromptu, we knew he was going to be there. Everybody knew Austin was going to be on the KO show. But the main event of night one, Stone Cold Steve Austin, yes, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin, defeated Kevin Owens by pinfall in a no-holds-barred match, 13 minutes and 55 seconds. And according to Austin and anybody else, this is his retirement match, was his retirement match. He is done, even though he hadn't wrestled in 19 years.
19 years.
He is done.
Although he did wrestle at what? WrestleMania in Dallas was?
The first Dallas WrestleMania, 30? I don't remember what it was. The first one that they had 100,000 fans at Dallas.
You said that over the weekend, and I got so bummed. You were like, it's not 19.
It was like a weird thing. The League of something, I can't remember. It was the heel faction with like Alberto Del Rio and
League of Nations. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was League of Nations with Miro and Alberto Del Rio and a couple other people. They beat the New Day and someone else, and then Austin, Michaels, and Foley came out and beat them sort of like in an impromptu match. I don't even think there was an actual.
I guess not an official match. Is that?
It wasn't an official match. Right? It wasn't an official.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could talk about that or him coming out on a talk show and.
But you can also say this one wasn't an official match either because it was never declared on the card.
It was when Kevin Owens said, "But I tricked you, and I'm really here to challenge you." Like that was pretty cool.
And when you bring a ref in and you ring that bell. I mean,
night one, I'll start it off. Night one, my favorite match. There were so many good matches that I really enjoyed in night one.
Yeah.
But if I have to pick one, it was Bianca and Becky.
It's
Jesus
not even
Christ.
Close. Not even
Man,
close.
just like last year with Sasha and Bianca. Like Bianca's, I love her, and I love Becky too. And to me, I know we're not grading it, but A+, like this match, fucking.
That was the match of the night by far.
Arguably,
That should have
I'm
been.
gonna jump ahead and say this was probably the match of the weekend to me. But there were so many good matches that you could say, and I wouldn't be like, okay. But I mean, I just feel that Bianca and Becky were just it was the best.
Introducing the challenger from Knoxville, Tennessee, Bianca Belair. And her opponent, she is the Raw Women's Champion, Becky.
was the best match.
Best match by far. Yeah. Bianca
and I would say
Becky.
probably the worst. I'm not going to say the worst because, like, I would say the most disappointing was the tag match because I do like Boogs and he has a lot of potential. And to see him blow his knee out, that was like my. I don't want to say. I know we're going to say a worst match, but I don't want to say that for this one because
it's just biggest disappointment of the night.
Biggest disappointment,
and it's not to me. And I know Cuz gave it a great grade. And I know he loves his Ronda Rousey, but the biggest disappointment to me was Ronda and Charlotte. It just has no business being that awkward and that out. And
and the biggest response is there's so many on this first night. Like Logan Paul fucking was amazing.
That was. That was the biggest heel.
Cody Rhodes's pop was fucking gigantic, and Austin's was somehow even bigger than that. Like the night one was just fucking phenomenal. So go ahead.
It was really good.
I love night one. I had so much fun.
It was really good.
Did you? Well, actually, just real quick, did you like night one better than night two?
Yes.
Wow, did not know that.
There was a lot of good parts in night two, but I think that for some reason there was a couple matches that even drug in night two. We'll get to it, but I thought night one was just the best night.
So being there live, Jess, I agree with you. The crowd for night one was lackluster. They popped at all the right times. The entrances, the moments they should have. When the bell rang, they sat on their hands. It was kind of like New Japan. Like it was like
they were hotter on night two.
They didn't know what they were supposed to do, and it was you could hear a pin drop during a lot of the matches. But with that said, the best two matches of the entire weekend were on night one. I think Seth and Cody and Bianca and Becky were the two best matches of the entire thing.
So the only reason why I know this, I don't get the Wrestling Observer, and I know people will freak out because I say that, or not because I don't get it, but just if you say Dave Meltzer or that, people are like, yeah, it's like he's so polarizing. But he forgot when he types up, he hand types everything still to this day, and when he typed up his newsletter, that's when he puts all of his star ratings. And I don't know what the other star ratings were because I don't get the newsletter
anymore.
But he forgot to put the star rating at the end of the Cody and Seth match. And so he announced it today or yesterday, I think, or whenever it came out on his radio show. And he gave that match 4.5 stars. So I'm like, if I think that Becky and whatever, like he had to have given out a couple 5 stars, right? Because as good as Cody and Seth was, I noticed a lot of botches like in that match.
Yeah, they made mistakes.
They were both into it, and so it's okay to botch. I'm not suggesting that I know what I'm talking about.
If they haven't touched each other for years.
But exactly. So there was and they still.
But if you gave that 4.5, you should have given
when you get a
better.
big surprise like that, it's the pop. That's all they're going for is Cody. They decided to give you a fucking amazing match on top
20
of it,
minutes.
which I'm like, dude, like. You can't ask for more. You got a surprise return in Cody.
So Jess, what did he give Bianca and Becky?
I don't know what the other ones were giving. He told that out loud because he forgot to give it. He literally
had to give that 4.5 at least. I'm gonna Google.
It has to be the same. 4 3/4.
Yeah,
he could do 4 3/4. So there's no way that like he. And I'm not disagreeing with the 4.5 star on the Cody and Seth, but I just sorry to cut you off.
There were better matches overall on that night,
and they were great. And Seth and Cody was fantastic. So I mean,
but there were matches that were a little bit better in our opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Craig.
I would just say, as a fan, and I've heard people that watched it at home, they were we as an audience were lackluster on night one, I think. But the best wrestling was on night one. I agree, Jess, kind of on all Becky, Bianca. Worst was Ronda, Charlotte. And the best moment for me was Austin's entrance. Felt like a kid again. It's all about nostalgia, being 45. But I will say, for me, and I think I pissed off Jess a little bit. I was just like, I was worried about Austin's health, where I couldn't enjoy it fully. And I was just like, is he okay? He was very
suplex to the concrete. Man.
He was very slow in the beginning with his kicks, and I was like, he's not. This is not.
That did worry me.
Is he going to go?
I saw that when he started doing the mud hole stomping. I got really worried when I saw that. I was like, oh man. Yeah. I was like, this match is going to be like 2 minutes long.
But
like,
then he took the suplex, and then he brawled, and then he was fine. And then it turns out, spoiler alert, comes out the next night and was happy as a fucking clam. Like the dude was fine, but
I didn't even talk about that. Like
it was uncomfortable for me just to kind of see Austin in the very beginning, and I think I just got played. I think I just got played thinking he wasn't okay in the danger of it all, but he fucking was okay. And
I'm shocked that I didn't even say anything. It's like it was amazing to see Austin like one more time. It really was.
People were losing their mind. That's where the crowd really got amped up too. That's where
see him arguably the greatest.
That buzz was taken in the night too, by the way.
The most popular over wrestler that we've seen in our lifetime. I mean, I know we have Hogan's and Rocks and all that stuff too, and we can have the debate later. Sure. But I mean, Austin was like the guy that resurrected that promotion when WCW was stomping the shit out of it. And kind of every week we tuned in to see what he would do to Vince and how he would try to get even with Vince. And just Austin was a great wrestler on top of that. And man, like to see that live, like I was honored. I was just like, God damn, like and then for him to like be like, I'm gonna have a match. It's pretty fucking cool. Like it's pretty like I didn't even know what to say after night one.
Well, you had 4/5 of this podcast that grew up during the Attitude Era, and actually 5/5 of the entire podcast grew up during the Attitude Era. 4/5 got to see this live and watched it in high school, the Attitude Era, and to see it live all this time later, it was instant
bit of a
ecstasy and joy, and the reason why we all became fans, and just immediately hearkening back to that moment every week during the Attitude Era. You could not wipe the smile off my fucking face, man.
Yeah. Little footnote: that is my first live and obviously last live Austin match. I've never seen him live before, so that was pretty fucking cool.
I didn't even know that.
I don't know about that, Dave.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Did you give your best, worst, and best moment, Dave?
Yeah, I agree. Best for me was best was Bianca and Becky. Worst for me, I disagree with Jess. It was Charlotte, not Charlotte, but the Charlotte match. Sorry. Yeah. And then my
people just don't like fucking Ronda.
She should be a heel.
They can see through it. They see through it. She doesn't want to be there. They can see through it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to be there. And my biggest surprise moment was the Logan Paul situation. That match had no business being that good. Is all I would say. We gave no expectation for that match, and I was like, God damn, that was really good. So that's why I saw that was my stuff. Sorry.
And then the attendance announced for that night was like 77,000 or something. I don't remember exactly. And
77, 78.
I think I heard through the grapevine that there was like probably 60,000 paid or something like that. Whatever. Like
I just want to say that I made the kid who sat next to me and Jess laugh. He was by himself for both nights, and bravo to that young guy who put up with us. He was very cool, big fan. Cool. But when they announced the attendance, I yelled 25,000, and I popped the little kid, and he laughed. That's all.
So we march into night 2, which was Sunday, April the 3rd.
Don't remember it. Don't remember it.
You don't remember it. I don't. Well, I don't towards the end. There was
Shoot it. Shoot the fireworks.
See ya. They're coming.
There was a lot of liquor on this night for some reason. I decided to bring the liquor train with me, and by that I mean just go and get a lot of liquor out in the lobby, and not like beer. I was like doing shots, so I was ridiculous. And so the opening match that I do remember was the Raw Tag Team Championship match. It was a triple threat. RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Matt Riddle defended their titles against the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Match number 2. Bobby Lashley making his return after we didn't think he was going to make Mania, but a couple weeks ago it was last minute. Bobby Lashley defeated Omos by pinfall.
It's Amos. It's Amos.
It's Edward James Omos.
James Omos. He defeated Omos by pinfall
He
I
defeated
believe his
almost.
first pinfall loss since he's been in the company. 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Johnny Knoxville defeats Sami Zayn by pinfall in an anything goes match. 14 minutes, 25 seconds. Sasha Banks and Naomi defeated Carmella, Queen Zelina, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Natalya, and Baszler to win the women's WWE Tag Team Championship in 10 minutes, 50 seconds.
Fatal 4-way tag.
Yeah, fatal 4-way. Then we had Edge defeating AJ Styles by pinfall in a singles match, 24 minutes, 5 seconds, which was the longest match of both nights. Then we had Sheamus and Holland defeat The New Day, 1 minute and 40 seconds in a regular tag team match. We had Pat McAfee defeating Austin Theory with Mr. McMahon in his corner by pinfall. That was a singles match, 9 minutes and 40 seconds. It seems so much longer to me, and I mean that in the best way possible. 9 minutes is not even seen, but there was a lot of goo-goo and gaga. Then we had an impromptu match. Mr. McMahon defeated Pat McAfee by pinfall.
That's why it felt long. There was 2 matches for McAfee.
And And that was listed as 3 minutes, 45 seconds.
Nope.
And
that's not a match. Pat McAfee is still undefeated at WrestleMania. Just want to say
that. And then at the end of that, they were trying to add insult to injury, and then the glass broke.
Keep moving.
And Austin came out there, and the place went fucking insane. And he had a final face-off against Vince, which I'm sure we'll touch on later.
Oh, yeah.
Which put a period or an exclamation point, I believe, at the end of their long, storied rivalry. And then in the main event, the biggest main event match ever in the history of Earth and sports. And
that's what they said. That's what it was.
And everything. Unification to unify the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship. Roman Reigns, the head of my table, defeated Brock Lesnar to unify the titles. 12 minutes and 15 seconds. Go ahead, Craig. Start it off.
Yeah, what'd you love?
Best match, I give the entire segment. It's a multiple of things. The entire segment of McAfee and Austin Theory, and going all the way to the very end with Austin stunning McMahon. Just overall, you can't talk me out of it. Best wrestling action, no. Best technical, no. I just loved every single second of it. Worst was, I think, New Day.
No.
Because I'm not going to go the obvious, and I know what you said, but I was upset with New Day losing so quickly, especially after their tribute to Big E. I get it. I understand. Blah, blah.
It's a timing issue, but I don't like that either.
And the best moment for me of the night was just, I think, as messed up as it was, the Austin kick and the stunner to McMahon. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it was fucked up.
Of course it was terrible. It needed to be, I think.
Vince never took a good stunner.
But did you say right now, but Austin Theory's stunner might have been better than The Rock's?
Yeah. Oh,
I thought it was
a lot of people were saying that. A lot of people
were
like,
McAfee's
did Austin Theory just take the greatest stunner of all time? And I was like, but maybe.
The way Austin Theory jumped up and took that, it was beautiful. And we hadn't even mentioned the Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville match, which was, for what it was, gimmicky, but still live, a hell of a lot of fun. And I think that led up to a lot of joy in the crowd that led the rest of the card for me.
I think that was
Stadium.
the biggest pleasant surprise was Knoxville.
Yes. So even though, like, as a wrestling purist, you can hate the shit out of that, but for those in attendance from around the world and millions watching at home, like,
when I saw the purist of Jess laughing through the match, like he was really enjoying it and having a really good time, because you can see Knoxville laughing the whole time. Like you can hear that laugh; it's infectious, and you know, lighting Sami Zayn's butt, you know, with a firecracker from a remote control, and it's just the big hand smack and him laughing all the way through it. You can't help but have fun. You were watching like an episode of Jackass. I mean, on WrestleMania night, and it was great. I have no problem with it. I had no issue. I knew what it was gonna. Once they said it was an anything goes match, I'm like, everyone's coming out, and it's gonna be fun, and there's gonna be crazy shit.
Yeah, there was
some giant mousetrap,
some stiff Wee Man kicks to the face and punches.
Yeah, Sami Zayn did not hold back.
Wee Man must have stiffed him on a couple of the punches.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that Wee Man might have given me the greatest WrestleMania moment of all time. When he slammed Sami Zayn, I haven't laughed harder in a long time.
I don't know how he was able to do it. Like, how did
he held him up there and showed him off and then slammed him, and everybody the next day, the memes of him slamming Sami next to Hogan and Andre, I was laughing so hard.
Yes.
Probably why
people are like the best body slam ever at Mania. I was like, I totally agree. It was the most fantastic thing I'd ever seen. Like, and just scooping him up and holding him there like a pro. And
Johnny, not talking about a pro. Johnny was an absolute pro when the mousetrap didn't work. He knew how the device was supposed to work. Just like, pull this.
Put his hand in the way and fucking got it. Yeah, got it out.
And eventually, he tried 3 different times, but he didn't give up on it. He was very calm about it and got it done.
If you can't just fucking let your hair down and laugh at that match, you're stupid. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm so tired. Like, WrestleMania is supposed to bring. You're supposed to see good matches. You're supposed to see comedy matches. You're supposed to see like special attractions, returns, surprises. It gave you everything.
It's the shit that gets on the local news. It's the Snooki. It's the Maria Menounos. Like, it's all.
It's gonna get people to watch. I mean,
the stupid hand, the dumb fucking hand.
The hand.
Like, goddamn.
Oh my god, the Mark Henry tweet and the meme. It was like
that was funny. Good to see Mark Henry's boy all grown up. Yeah.
So I'll break it down. So the jackass hand that is a big size hand that pops Sami Zayn in the head in the face and knocks him out. And someone did the meme like Mae Young and Mark Henry's child grew up to be that hand or whatever. And then Mark Henry tweeted like, all I do is create generational talent.
Yeah.
And it's
so good.
I did not see that reply by Hitter. That's great. Like, that is so
Sami Zayn got fireworks up his asshole. Like, it's so good. Like, so fun.
It was a really good surprise, but the bigger surprise to me, and it's because I didn't watch NXT, religiously to see what McAfee did in his first match, but McAfee was so impressive to me as someone who doesn't wrestle all the time. You can clearly see that he loves the business, even though he's only been a part of it for a really short time. It's like, I don't know what was a bigger dream to him, the NFL or this. It's hard. I think he's got passions for both, but when I know he did it before. Jess told me, he did that. He did that in the other match. When he jumped straight from the apron to the third rope to do a superplex, I was like, wait a minute. Like, McAfee shouldn't be able to do that. did that plus a lot of other things that was my biggest surprise of the night. My worst match by far is, I'm going to say Amos, because I want to insult him every chance I get. I hate him. I can't stand him. Someone needs to work with that guy. He needs to go either
NXT or just be fired at this point.
I'm with you.
He was around AJ Styles for the better part of a year.
He made
I don't know how you don't get better.
Made so many mistakes.
Even Kevin Nash got better.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. It's a really good point.
Come on.
And I'm just like, I can't. I mean, and now at least being part of the Hurt business, maybe that will help. I don't know. MVP doesn't. I don't know. I'm hoping for something, but that was the worst match of the night. I'm sorry, of the weekend. Not just of night 2. It was the worst match, period. And I wish I'd never seen it again. Yeah,
I didn't have it all on night 1. On night 2, I had this face a couple times.
Yeah, it was bad. But my favorite match of the night is kind of surprise all of you, but it's the unification match. I absolutely loved it. I love Brock announcing himself. I loved it. Yeah, I know. And I'll tell you, RK Bro was really good, but I enjoyed the unification match.
Dave, that's fine.
But I really love the unification match. I love the brutality of it. I love the fact that Roman is getting this amazing, like he is the company. It's not even a rocket strapped to him anymore. He is the rocket. He's everything, and it's so well overdue. Said. He figured it out. We wanted this for him for so long, but he couldn't get it done. Everything is falling together. We talk about the music. We talk about finally repackaging, retooling him appropriately to get him away from the Shield, bringing down the special beads for when it's a special moment of pay-per-view time. It's like everything means something now in the Bloodline. It's a great faction. He's got Heyman. There's little moments where you look like Brock's going to beat him, and Heyman just nudges the rope to get him to grab it, protecting Brock in the process. So when he does come back, it's not as big of a deal. I love the match. I love how they did everything, and I love how Roman comes out and just says, I'm it. What are you going to do about it? And phenomenal stuff. You guys all thought that he might have tore his tricep. He came out the next night looking just fine. But he didn't, by the way. Yeah, he played up to it. Like something was dislocated, and he pulled it when the match was over. You see him pull on the ring to like put his arm back in the socket.
Now there's no excuse for the match under delivering. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, so you're terrible. I personally thought it was great. I think there's more nostalgia behind it that does that for me, because I know there's better work on the night and on the weekend, but it's pretty awesome.
I say night 1 you can label as the professional wrestling night, and night 2 is the sports entertainment night. If you want to break it up. Yeah. I didn't hate the Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar match. No, I thought it was fine. It was the same match as they've always done, and maybe that's the best thing to do. So, sure. And I like that Roman went over. It was only 12 minutes. It's not a long time. There were like 2 cars crashing into each other. So they did everything. Yeah. I'm not going to rank them as like one of my favorite moments, because I think I forgot most of that match because I was drinking a lot of liquor. But I do remember when the pin happened, I was just sort of like, oh, was I out of it that much, or did it just never shifted gears? It just kind of stayed in the same gear the whole match and then ended. So, but I wasn't disappointed. They didn't do anything wrong. I would have to say my favorite match. Yeah, it's going to be the Pat McAfee match. Yeah. Because, good God, man, like the crowd was insane for that whole match. It really was. Some people that I talked to that watched it live on TV, I didn't even notice how loud the crowd was. I was like, no, it was fucking insane for the Pat McAfee match. Like the crowd, they were chanting the White Stripe song the entire time. Every time Pat McAfee would do anything, they would start, oh. They would just did it the whole night.
So good.
Brilliant move by McAfee, who knows sports and knows that that's a stadium song and knows that that's an anthem that you fucking chant all the time. It's a brilliant maneuver by him to pick that song. He was
awesome. And Vince, 76 years old, fucking getting out there in his black tank top, like amazing. Like his awareness still, like he's lost a step.
He faked the jacket
but he fakes taking the jacket off and then puts it back on and then takes it off and the place pops huge.
Playing the crowd.
I will say when Austin's music hit, that place was shaking. Like, because did you really expect him to come out twice?
You didn't.
2 nights. No.
Joe leaned over to me and Joe goes, someone's got to come out, right? When after the match, whenever Vince started like beating shit and with Austin out of Pat McAfee. I looked at Joe and I was like, fucking Austin. And I would say 30 seconds later, the glass broke. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I think that you should have known, but at the same time, like, why would you think that, kind of thing.
I never thought Vince was even going to get in there.
Yeah. And I think so as all that happened, we were so preoccupied with
that. You were just in it. Yeah, you were
I'm
just
telling
in
you,
it.
man, I'm pretty sure that building was shaking, like when Austin came
Oh,
out
yeah.
that second time, because again, it was the connection between Vince and him, and like that place, especially after he stunned Austin Theory, and he rolls outside the ring and he turns and looks at Vince. Like the plate, you felt the place shake. The buzzing was shaking the building, like because
Hold
you
on,
knew,
let's have a beer
like you
first.
knew, and yeah, the stunner was fucking horrible, and it should have been,
It's
and
always,
like all that stuff.
it's fine.
Vince-
It's always bad.
When Vince was drinking his beer, and he's like, "Don't wait a minute," and he was like, "But." He's like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And wait, don't attack me. And it was so great. And like, I was smiling my face was hurting. I think I was smiling so hard at that point. So I would say that was the best match. That entire thing from Pat McAfee's entrance all the way to Austin stunning Vince and celebrating, and then stunning McAfee and McAfee drinking unconscious on the floor, which was fucking genius. And everything about that. I would say, but also too, like, I was really disappointed in Edge and Styles. And I know it started their feud. It's going to be the first of many matches. I get it. I guarantee you the match at Backlash will be better. But I was like, like, I don't want to be annoyed with Edge. I like Edge. And I was annoyed with him because I was like, why did you fucking, I bet you and AJ are both like, we had a 25-minute, like, and I'm making this up. I have no reason to believe this, but they were both like, oh, we're going to tear the house down. Well, you didn't though. And you were fine. They didn't make any mistakes, but it was just like I don't know. Maybe if it was on night one, I would have appreciated it more. But in the night of sports entertainment, I was like, I don't know, like it was okay.
Don't forget, we do get a faction out of it, which is going to be good for some.
Yeah,
some
for sure. So I like that part. The RK Bro match was fun and
it was great.
Should have been with the Usos and Boogs, and Shinsuke was probably going to be the night before. It was the place went crazy for RK Bro. I mean, it was just there was no contest. Who was who is the most overseen in that one. The Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn, Jesus Christ. Like I never saw that coming. I was belly laughing.
Yeah,
the worst match was Omos and Lashley sucked. It was just fucking terrible.
It was terrible.
And it wasn't.
And yet Lashley got a very respectful, awesome intro.
Again,
like I loved Lashley's entrance. He got fireworks on the top of the stadium.
Didn't do anything wrong. And I'm out right now on whether the face Lashley's going to work. They feel it's okay to turn him at this point, and I'm not feeling it because he comes out with the generic to his music. He does the 1, 2, like every time his music does that beat, like it's all it goes dun, and he goes all and he does it every fucking time. And I'm like, don't, like, they're making you a stupid baby face. Don't be stupid. Like, you're a killer. You're a killer. You should put people in the Hurt Locker. You could be a face, but you're a killer. Like, that's what you should be. And I feel like they're softening him up. I don't know. I'm jumping the gun with him. I love Bobby Lashley. That's why I'm getting defensive, because I like him a lot.
Well, because WWE has misused him for several times over.
Yeah, and they finally put the title on him at one time, and I loved that. A couple times they did, and I love that.
Making the Hurt Business and giving him a faction.
I think when he got injured and he got taken out of Elimination Chamber, they saw their moment. So I give them credit for realizing, like, you know what? We should make him face now because people like him. And I agree with that. But now they're trying to make him...
I don't think he was really injured in Elimination. I think they just saved him and protected him.
Maybe. I
took him out of that match to protect him.
Or they knew if we take him off now, he will be ready for Mania. I think maybe that's why they did it. And so instead of him waiting
I think
after
they
Mania,
said he was suffering with
it was a nagging knee or something.
Yeah, they said he was suffering with something else. Yeah.
So I don't mean to go long-winded here, but yeah, the Sheamus match was way too short. Disrespectful to
that match got pushed into the night too because we were running over. Yeah, I think
so. And it was disrespectful. Yeah. If you're only going to give him a minute and 40 seconds, don't just cut him.
Just don't put him on the show.
I don't want to see the New Day disrespected like that, and like I don't care for it.
And I also, if we can make comment, I don't know if there were pre-shows on it, but really disrespectful to not have the U.S. title and the IC title not on the card, on the direct card.
On the main show. Yeah, both of them should have been on the main show somewhere. For sure. But other than that, like night 2, if I had to give a grade, night 1, I'd give an A+ because we were there live, and for the night, it was great. I would say night 2, B+. I can't say top 10 Manias of all time,
but you're close.
But this one's in the top 15. I would say I wouldn't second guess that. But maybe if I ranked them out loud,
you give it time, Jess, it'll climb past the top.
Maybe this will be top 10 because I really enjoyed it.
And it's a different experience when you're there live as opposed to when you're watching at home.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
But it's
especially two nights. Like I'm wondering if we would have attended the first night but didn't go to the second night and watch it on TV, how we would feel, or the other way around. If we would have just watched night 1 on TV and then went to night 2 live, would we be like, night 2 was fucking crazy?
Well, one thing I can tell you, the crowd noise isn't nearly as substantial on when you watch it on pay-per-view versus when you're there live.
It's so weird because you guys were totally right. We were talking about the next day. During night 1, it did not register to me that the crowd was sitting on their hands a lot. I think I was so into it. I was just so into it, like I didn't care. And I really, all I remember thinking was the entire night was, I really hope that Becky and Bianca delivers, because that in my mind that was my pick to be match of the night. And then I was like, I really hope Austin doesn't hurt himself. I think it was my whole thing, because I didn't want Austin to tarnish his image, because all he ever said on his podcast was, I left because I didn't want to disrespect my legacy. I won't never disrespect my legacy. That I was almost against him in a weird way coming into the show, because I was just like, oh, don't fucking, did you sell out? You don't need the money. Why the fuck would you do this? Like, I was really weird like that. Like,
interesting to know that he wrestled someone like Owen, which I'm not, in hindsight, I'm not.
I was bothered by that too. But I mean, mechanic-wise, I know why they put him in there.
He's the man who he let take the stunner.
Yeah.
So he's going to be the man who lets him beat the shit out of him for 15 minutes. By the way, let's see. Okay, I know we're running late, but I'm going to say it. So we're all 45, 44 years old. And on Friday and Saturday night, all we did was we actually chopped each other for about 2 hours after WrestleMania drunk. And so there were 3 different types of chops. And this is, everyone just lean into your podcast or lean into your cars or just listen and take a moment into this. There's 3 different types of chops when you think about it. There are Ric Flair chops, which are woos right across the white.
Reverse knife edge, yeah.
There are Wahoo McDaniel chops, which are paintbrushes right down one side of the chest, whatever your dominant hand is. And there are Pillmans, which is a combination of almost a push Flair Wahoo chop.
It's an open-edge slap to your chest is what a Pillman is.
And then you got this.
So you're talking 4/5 of this podcast spent 2 hours calling each other and chopping the shit out of each other in those 3 different chops after WrestleMania, to the point where blood blisters, bruises, and welts happened, and it was the best time I've had in about 2 years. So, love to my our wrestling podcast family, and
everybody.
Plus, you were there, and it was just so much goddamn fun. And if you have the opportunity and you can save your money, and when Jess dies, I will get back to you.
He held it together as long as he could, man.
It was a lot of fun, and I'm no one else in the world I'd rather be there with than you.
Yeah, I got sick the day before we left for Dallas, and I made sure that I medicated myself. And this is probably not healthy to say out loud, but I was just medicating myself and drinking myself to wellness, and that's how I somehow made it through the weekend.
Made it through the weekend,
which is completely not the remedy to get yourself better. And
we don't recommend that here at the O.W.P.
Do not drink alcohol with pain pills, and I don't mean somas or anything like that. I mean like Advil. But I had somas. I passed out my soup.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
Craig had to put me to bed.
I think that's a good spot to stop it. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts.
And we hadn't seen each other in years, by the way. All 4.
Especially because of the pandemic, we haven't really seen each other.
Not in person. Yeah, not in person. It's been at least 2 years for everyone, and some is 3 or more. So, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019, or on Facebook at
Texas?
That's right, Texas.
Can't see the other Texas phrase.
For Jess and Craig, this is Dave with the O.W.P signing off.
No rules, Texas.
No rules.
Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower.
To your own slave, protect the freedom of father choice. Those men don't know like you can.